In a quaint little village nestled amidst rolling hills and lush green meadows, lived Oliver the mouse. Oliver was no ordinary mouse, he was a connoisseur of cheese, with a palate as refined as it was adventurous. From sharp cheddars to creamy bries, Oliver had tasted them all, and yet his craving for cheese knew no bounds. As the sun rose over the village, casting a warm glow across the landscape, Oliver awoke with a rumble in his belly. Today was a special day, it was Cheese Appreciation Day, the one day of the year when the finest cheeses from far and wide were put on display for all to admire and enjoy. With a twinkle in his eye and a spring in his step, Oliver set out on a mission to sample every cheese in the village. From the bustling market square to the cozy delis tucked away down winding alleyways, Oliver embarked on a cheese-tasting adventure like no other, his whisk airs a-quiver with excitement. As Oliver made his way through the village, he could hardly contain his excitement. The air was alive with the scent of cheese, mingling with the sounds of laughter and music drifting through the streets. Everywhere he looked, tables laden with wheels of cheese beckoned to him, their tantalizing aromas filling his nostrils with delight. With each sample he tasted, Oliver's appreciation for cheese grew stronger. From nutty Goudas to tangy Blues, each cheese had its own unique flavor and character, and Oliver savored every bite with gusto. But as the day wore on and his belly grew fuller, Oliver couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness. For all the cheese he had tasted, there was still one cheese that had eluded him, the legendary Golden Gouda, rumored to be the most delicious cheese in all the land. Determined to taste the Golden Gouda for himself, Oliver set his sights on the grand finale of the Cheese Appreciation Day celebrations, the Cheese Festival, where the Golden Gouda would be unveiled to the public for the very first time. As Oliver arrived at the cheese festival, he was greeted by a sight that took his breath away. Rows upon rows of tables stretched out before him, each laden with gleaming wheels of cheese in every shape, size, and color imaginable. But at the center of it all stood a pedestal adorned with a single wheel of cheese, the Golden Gouda. With a gasp of awe, Oliver approached the pedestal, his heart racing with anticipation. The Golden Gouda shimmered in the sunlight, its golden rind glinting like treasure, and Oliver knew that he had to taste it, no matter the cost. But as Oliver reached out to take a bite, a voice rang out from behind him. "Stop right there, little mouse." Startled, Oliver turned to see a stern-looking cat standing before him, his eyes narrowed with suspicion. It was Chester, the village's resident cheese aficionado and self-appointed guardian of the Golden Gouda. "You won't be getting your paws on that cheese, Oliver," Chester said with a sneer. "The Golden Gouda is for true cheese connoisseurs only, and you, my friend, are nothing but a common mouse." Determined not to be deterred, Oliver pleaded with Chester to let him taste the Golden Gouda, but the cat refused to budge. With a heavy heart, Oliver turned away from the pedestal, knowing that he would never be able to fulfill his dream of tasting the legendary cheese. As Oliver wandered through the cheese festival, his spirits low and his belly empty, an idea began to form in his mind. If he couldn't taste the Golden Gouda through legitimate means, then perhaps he could acquire it through other, more creative methods. With a mischievous glint in his eye, Oliver set out to hatch a plan to steal the Golden Gouda and taste its deliciousness for himself. Gathering his courage and steeling his nerves, Oliver embarked on his most daring adventure yet, the Great Cheese Heist. Under cover of darkness, Oliver crept through the village, his heart pounding with excitement and nerves. With each step he took, he grew closer to his goal, until at last he found himself standing before the Cheese Festival grounds, where the Golden Gouda sat unguarded on its pedestal. With a steady hand and a determined spirit, Oliver leapt into action. Dodging and weaving through the shadows, he made his way towards the pedestal, his whiskers twitching with anticipation. And then, with a swift motion, he reached out and snatched the Golden Gouda from its perch, holding it aloft triumphantly as he made his escape into the night. As Oliver fled through the village, the Golden Gouda clutched tightly in his paws, he couldn't help but feel a sense of exhilaration coursing through him. He had done it, he had pulled off the greatest cheese heist in history, and now he would finally taste the legendary Golden Gouda for himself. With a sense of anticipation building in his chest, Oliver found a quiet spot beneath a moonlit tree and prepared to taste the cheese that had eluded him for so long. Closing his eyes and taking a deep breath, he took a bite of the Golden Gouda, savoring the taste as it melted on his tongue. And in that moment, as the flavors of the cheese danced across his palate, Oliver knew that it had been worth it, every risk, every daring feat, every moment of uncertainty. For in the end, he had achieved his dream, and the taste of victory was sweeter than any